Alright, welcome back, people. Happy Thursday, everyone. How are you doing? Hope everyone is having a great Thursday. Hope everyone is having a great Thursday. Sorry that today we are starting a bit late, some 46 minutes late. I arrived later from work. So, pretty much we've got a bit of problem there, but no worries. We'll compensate for it. As last time, we smoothly finished chapter 4 of Master Mode Knights of the Eternal Throne, people. Okay, so after the Genohardan Hunters ruined our lives, here, let me remove my surround sound configuration there, I have it disabled. So after the Genohardan Hunters made our lives miserable because of broken level design, in which it was the only point in which I required help from a friend in the game, to Bas, always a great a great salute to you, Bas, there, so that we play offline, people, during the weekends and etc. So basically, people, this chapter was broken, chapter 2, because there's an encounter in which there's a one-hit area of effect kill that is 100% accurate. We could solo chapter 3 2 days ago, as Drakensang was unplayable without an event. I couldn't proceed with the story. So basically that, I could finish chapter 3 without any problem, and we are about to start chapter 4, basically. There aren't many more left. There's only 9 chapters for this. So far, for this one, regardless of your class, you will need people to help you. But afterwards, chapter 3, I could do it smoothly, and the 4th one we are going to try today. We are playing Knights of the Eternal Throne Master Mode. We are trying to solo it, like I did for Knights of the Fallen Empire here. It is true that here I had to finish the last 3 chapters with a Juggernaut instead. I have a Juggernaut if things get out of hand, that if I see it's impossible to proceed with the Sorcerer, I will have offline my Juggernaut up to the same chapter, and I can switch between the two. Hello, how are you doing, Patrick? How are you doing? Hope you had a great night yesterday. We kept chatting with Pillow about Russia and China continuously, but well, let's get to it. The Gravestone has jumped to hyperspace of its own volition. The ship is taking its captive passengers to an unknown destination. Enraged at Scorpio's betrayal, Balin is sabotaging the Gravestone's systems, leaving the ship defenseless. Go to the Omni Cannon and get it back online. Let's go. As you can see there, we're launching chapter 4 on master difficulty. We skipped the cinematic. Of course, we've watched it several times. As I greet the great people I love here in the chat. How are you doing, Patrick? How are you doing? You left the nihilistic Discord after you had fun yesterday. I made it to read it there. You got an argument to monarchism from my history. No. Patrick, you are using me to argue with your history teacher? No. No. I hope he or she takes it correctly, because not many people are here. I have a fucking mosquito that is making my life miserable. It's a single one that I will kill as soon as I have the opportunity, because it's unbearable. It's a single motherfucker that is making my life impossible since today. I don't know why. He loves me. One fucking mosquito got in here somehow. Then I will bring some poison for him. It should kill him in no time. I don't know how he entered through the window, because I have a small hole here in the window in which they can. Now I just asked her questions because the topic was militarily, basically. Okay, tell me. What was the argument of your teacher? I have no problem replying to it. I love talking about history as I kill stuff in Star Wars: New Republic. Who questions monarchism? Who questions the monarchy? My life for the king. no, no, but no, I do support monarchies, people. It's basically like that. Not dictatorships. If people don't understand the difference between a dictatorship and a monarchy, not my problem. There, I can only send you to read books. Basically, it's the difference between the form of the state and the form of the government. You can have the form of the state being a monarchy, and then the distribution of the executive power, the form of the government, and the legislative, and all of the three powers, and the judicial system, in a way that is not a dictatorship, with a parliamentary monarchy. Parliamentary is a part of the government, and monarchy is a part of the state. This is what people generally don't understand, because they haven't read books, sadly. But it's like that. It's the difference between the form of the state and the form of the government. The form of the state can be a presidential, a republic, a monarchy, or a dictatorship. Then, inside of the state, the government can be organized in different ways. Parliamentary monarchy or a dictatorship, which is different, which is like giving the three branches, the executive, the legislative, and the judicial system, the three of them, to the monarch, and yes, there it is a dictatorship. She agreed that parliamentary monarchism is very good, but she also mentioned it's not about the form of the state, it's more about the individuals. She mentioned democracy could work with good people. But it's less stable, would be my argument. It's much less stable. Why? Because by what she did? Democracy. Ah, no, 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 no. In the case of the democracy, she's not stating the form of the state. If you just say democracy, it's pretty much like the form of how you want the executive power. You want the executive power with the president, she meant. The form of the government, of the executive power, of the legislative as well, because the second you have a president, then you have, like in the United States and here in Argentina, instead of a European Parliament, you will have a Senate, like a Senate and a Chamber of Deputies in our case, or the Chamber of Lords in the case of the United Kingdom, or etc. She means a presidential republic by that. The problem is that it's less stable. Why? Why? Because when you forfeit... Ah, wait, I have the... Here, I have to activate the quest to know what the fuck to do. I have to repair the Omni Cannon. There, so it activated the quest. Good. Pretty much I don't have anything else to do here. Let me do one last... Let me explore the place if there's anyone else to kill. These guys here, pretty much. Pretty much. So I get a bit of a warm-up before we go into more fights, people. The problem there is, my argument would be, Patrick, of course, I completely respect whatever she would argue, or he would argue with all of those things. She questioned monarchism. She's not against it, as I mentioned. She's a fan as well. I would highlight... No. I would highlight, I think I mentioned it to you, that a monarchy, this would be my argument. Not as a fight, no. Besides, you're telling me the person likes it as well and everything. Monarchism is more stable than a presidential republic, or what she meant by democracy. In the form of the state, I would argue is more stable. Why? Why? Always it's important, people, to say why always. Say why constantly. Ask yourself why constantly. Empirical evidence. I'll begin with empirical evidence. Monarchies. The United Kingdom, first constitution of the world. Modern constitution of the world. If we're talking about the very first legal system, we have to go to the Code of Hammurabi or something like that, or even the Roman Empire. First modern constitution, the United Kingdom. Second, empirical evidence. Regardless of the executive power, it really doesn't matter if it's a parliamentary monarchy with a prime minister or chancellor, or if it's a presidential republic like here in the Americas, with the president and the executive holding the executive power, and then the legislative's a bit more separated. It doesn't matter. The executive will always, and the legislative, both of them, not the judicial system, supposedly it shouldn't. It does sometimes in practice, and it's a terrible mistake. The judicial system should always be neutral. It shouldn't be right or left. But the legislative and the executive both go right and left depending on elections, on, let's say, seasonal elections, 2 years, etc., etc. My argument would be that the monarchy allows to create a division between the present condition of the preferences of the population, right or left, in the case of the executive and the legislative, and the overall concept of having a nation and a shared cultural identity for the population. That is the biggest argument. In the United Kingdom, right now, for example, you know that Starmer is there. Crowbar can give us a lot of details about that. He's suffering his presence a lot, I bet. Starmer, for example. You know, I dislike socialists, right? The present. The practical present of the executive power. However, the king will remain there until he dies or is succeeded by his children, and etc. So there's a component. I fix the cinematics, people, as you can see. I fix the cinematics. I switched the refresh rate and everything. So now they should be smooth. The king stays there as an element that unites the culture of the country, of the territory. So I think that is a great idea, because it gives a stability. It gives the population an element that is separated from the present condition of the executive and the legislative power. See, that is not a dictatorship, my argument. I am arguing about a stability, which is the opposite of having a fucking dictatorship killing everyone. It's the opposite. So yeah, that would be my argument. With empirical evidence, I still, and I verified, I can still love the United Kingdom, even if I don't like the executive. In the case of Argentina, once the executive is taken by the president, by a communist, it all goes to shit. It all goes to shit. And I bet you've seen it in a lot of countries. There's one thing. One exception, I will say, to this rule that I perceive. In the case of the United States, since the United States is the superpower of the world, that allows it to mitigate this problem that I am mentioning. When you are the superpower of the world, you can separate the stability of the economy from the executive power. You can separate your military dominance over the world from your executive power. This was done by the Roman Empire as well, during its republic phase, just like in its imperial phase. So there you can do it. You can make a democracy, as your teacher told you, Patrick, work without this limitation that I'm mentioning of having an element that transcends you. But you need to first, I would suggest, separate the economic management of the state. I would remove that faculty from the executive power, then, like in a way is in the United States, because the Secretary of the Treasury, this is something technical that not a lot of people know, the Secretary of the Treasury and the president of the central bank of the United States, especially, even if the president asks him for money, the executive does not control the central bank, right? He may get funds from that he already has from the treasury, but he cannot touch the central bank. Here in Argentina, there was a law that socialism passed. There was a bill that they passed 10 years ago in which they removed the independence of the central bank, and they stole everything in it. See the problem. See the problem. When you have a monarch and you have other regulations, well, it adds more of a framework to it. Just so you know, it's very technical. In presidential republics, the executive should never take control of the central bank, which is what happened here, and in a lot of other banana republics without good institutions. See how fragile it is in comparison. In monarchies, it's much more difficult for the executive power to touch the central bank. There's an episode in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, by the end of it, in which precisely the Palpatine, precisely Darth Sidious, takes control of the banks. Precisely. That is what should never happen. And it's more likely to happen in a presidential republic. It has happened more in presidential republics than in monarchies. There you have second empirical evidence example, besides having this element that unites the population.
Don't touch them, Valen. Kneel before the dragon of Suku.
Nice try, Outlander.
You must be closer if you hope to activate her conditioning.
I need a new corpse to hang on my wall. If I can't have you... The Twi'lek's no good. Her coloring clashes with my decor.
Valen adapts quickly. She cannot strike you down, but she will find other
Pretty
ways
much that.
to hurt you.
Pretty much that. I have more arguments. Well,
The phrase you recited. Kneel before the dragon of Suku. Can I control her with that?
Not like this. You must be closer. Something is coming.
damn it. They need to do something about those textures, people. They are not good. Well, it's a game from 2012. But they need to do something about those textures. So yeah, it would be that, Patrick. It would be that. She's a fan as well. Well, that's a miracle. There are not many of us left that like monarchy. That like monarchism. Democracy could work with good people. It can work, but it has a higher degree of challenge and less degree of stability, I would say. Patrick, I am flattered that you use my whatever knowledge may come out of my mind to debate against a history teacher,
Does anyone
or to tell her those things. I'm flattered. I'm not a history teacher. I read a lot. Oh well. I'm a scholastic philosopher instead. Oh, what's that thingy? As I analyzed her argument, she meant the form of the state is not that important. Oh, on that we disagree. I think it is. I think it is. I think the form of the state is important because of a metaphysical principle. The same I use against gender theories precisely. It's not that important. I get the idea that if you can then have a stable form of the government, you can mitigate that. But it's the same argument that I have against gender theories. Patrick, I don't know if you remember what I said about gender theories. The framework, at the end of the day, always determines the content, right? The content never determines the framework. Can I summon someone here? Yeah, pretty much that guy. I don't know if I was supposed to do that. Well, those died in one blow. The framework determines the content. The content never determines the framework. That's what I would argue to say that the form of the state is important instead. Because of that. Hey, they died in one blow. Not this one. I forgot about my lightning there. My bad. Sorry, people. Strange remote. Because like this. Oh yeah, what you said is to a bit shallow. Maybe I missed that topic. So what I no means to you as a reality. No. It doesn't have to do with that. No, you weren't there. It was a day I was debating with Pillow. No, it wasn't there. About gender theories in general. No, it wasn't that one. Gender theories in general. Nowadays, gender theories, the ones that accept trans individual more than what you are mentioning, the base of that theory is that inside of the consciousness of the brain, Patrick, basically we have a psychology. Now I'm interested. No. Let's not begin with that. No. It's just an outlying topic as you continue talking about the state. No. Let's not begin with all of that. But because then Pillow will come, will write, and we'll have the same topic as every night. No. The consciousness, supposedly gender theories state that in the consciousness of the brain, psychologically, you determine your, supposedly, the concept of gender, right? My questioning against that, as a realist philosopher, is that it violates, it contradicts the metaphysical principle of the framework determining the content of any metaphysical entity. I'll explain it in other words. Can Earth exist outside of our solar system? No. Can we exist outside of the oxygen of the Earth? Outside of the Earth? No. We exist inside of the Earth, conditioned by its climate. The human race would have never developed without the climate of the Earth. In other planet, millions of years away, etc. So far, no. And we don't know what mutations it would have been. We wouldn't have been humans. With the same concept, something simpler. If I put my mobile phone, inside of a box, much simpler. I put my mobile, right? I grab it and I put it inside of a box, right? Then, with my mobile inside of the box, I grab the box. Does the mobile move with the box in time and space, inside of the box, in time and space? Does it move in the metaphysical plane of time and space, the box? The mobile phone inside of the box as I move the box? Yes. Well, applied to the state... Sorry, regarding gender theories, how can something that supposedly develops inside of the consciousness of the brain, the gender, supposedly, this concept that they invented, how can it condition The framework, if it's the content, if it develops inside of the consciousness of the brain, how can something psychological condition something which is the biological framework of it, the brain itself? That's why I state that gender doesn't exist. Sex exists, and it can only be masculine or feminine, determined at birth due to the proportion of gray matter in the brain. A female brain has a different proportion of gray matter than a male brain. This does not mean that men are more intelligent than women. No, it does not mean that. Gray matter is not responsible for that. It is responsible for determining logic, arithmetic and logic thinking. The female brain develops it as you grow. The male brain has a bigger proportion at birth, in that sense. So would you describe or girl, I'm interested now. I do not believe in the existence of those modernly described conditions, Patrick. I think that at birth they are all male or female, determined by the proportion of gray matter on the brain and of course also the reproductive organ. I do not believe in the existence of the content, the psychological content, determining the framework, because the framework determines the content. If I move the box in time and space, the mobile phone inside of it moves as well. The framework determines the content. So, if the framework determines the content as a metaphysical principle, see that I'm just using observation of metaphysical reality, pure realism. I move the box and the cell phone inside of it moves with it. In the case of the human consciousness, if the biological brain has a certain proportion of gray matter that determines if you are male or female, how can that be then overwritten by psychological consciousness? That would be my questioning. The deduction of that is that it's impossible, that it can be, and because the framework determines the content, sex, biological sex, the only concept that exists, is determined at birth by the proportion of gray matter in the brain, not only the reproductive organ. Because our brains are different. So for me, a man that claims to be that which you are describing, having psychological, oh yeah, I understand now exactly, I use this concept arguing with relativism. Yes, precisely. How can someone thinking and saying they are the opposite, in their case they use the concept of gender, how can it be possible if the framework determines the content? Is the proportion of gray matter on the brain is determined at birth, as I described, regardless of what they think. Then you can think in your consciousness that you are, I could use the something even more exaggerated, so we can use a reduction to absurdity. I could also say that I am a cute little doggy, right? It's the same concept. It's the same concept. I'm trying to override with my mental perception the objective arrangement of molecules and particles. I say that I'm a cute little doggy instead. Does that make me a cute little doggy? Do my thoughts change the objective arrangement of molecules and particles in time and space? No, it doesn't. Because of that, the deduction is that gender theories are a social construct. The origin is social, is not biological. When something has a social origin instead of biological, then you are imposing the majority of the will of a society to the rest. It is relativism then. That would be my conclusion. Going back to the state, about your history teacher that you mentioned to me, Patrick. Going back to that and the and the form of the state being monarchy or presidential republic, if we extrapolate this universal metaphysical principle that the framework determines the content, the chemicals of the brain determine the sex of a person, the biological chemicals, precisely. The box determines how the mobile inside of the box moves in time and space. The solar system determines the climate of Earth, just how in all of those three examples, the framework determines the content of any metaphysical entity in time and space. The same applies for the form of the state that we were discussing. If I establish a monarchy, the framework will have an impact on the content. That's why I disagree with your teacher saying that the form of a state doesn't matter that much, because of the universal metaphysical principle that the framework determines the content. See that I have cohesion across all topics, regardless of it. See the thing. If the form of the state is a monarchy, it will affect society in a certain way in which a presidential republic won't. This element that I commented to you, for example, of the framework determining the content. If the executive power of a country is taken from the monarch, except some specific faculties, there's a division of the executive power, actually. Contrary to what people who sadly haven't read a lot don't generally see. And please, never, I don't mean your teacher, Patrick. I mean people in general, because I've argued with this. People think that a monarch is a dictator nowadays in a lot of cases. Far right extreme, far left extremists think that, and they call you a far right extremist for defending European monarchies. How can it be a dictatorship if a monarchy, modernly, actually splits the faculties of the executive between the monarch and the prime minister? It actually splits them. Presidents in presidential republics like Argentina and the United States have more executive faculties than the monarch and the prime minister, because they are unified. So there you have an example of the framework determining the content. In a monarchy, the faculties of the executive power are split into two. The framework, the form of the state being a monarchy, is affecting the structure of the executive power, the content. See that it makes sense? Or well, for my humble perception of reality at least. The prime minister gets 50% of the faculties, let's say he gets a bit more. The proportion is generally 80, and 20 that are the most important, like declaring war, are in the head of the monarch. See that it actually splits power. Second example, the judicial power that is never talked about. Of course, as a lawyer, for me, I know it. Do you know how the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom works? People, anyone in general. You can have concentrated or split constitutional control. What do I mean by this? In the United Kingdom, there's split constitutional control, right? This means that there is a Supreme Court for each ramification of the topics that affect society. That is, one Supreme Court for civil law, one Supreme Court for criminal law. They are not different. They are like different chambers of it. There's one chamber for economic law, let's say. It's actually called commercial law. And like that, etc., etc., etc. Do you know how it is? In presidential republics, we have a single Supreme Court that universally handles all topics. That degrades, in the United States is also like this. My perception as lawyer is that that degrades the capability of professionalism, of a specificity, of dedicating to a single topic that the Supreme Court can have, degrading the quality of the institution. This is not like people, it's meant to be like that. It's like an ancient technology and etc.
Are you some kind of droid? You look human.
So there you have examples.
I am a composite appearance designed to facilitate communication. Error. This is the Selruvian biome, sector 8022 of the engineered world designated Biocath.
Locath.
Clears it up. Commander?
Torian, I wasn't sure you survived Valen. Do you know how we got here?
Hoped you could tell me.
Downhill. Wait, Pillow, I didn't finish the argument about the form of the state. How are you doing, Pillow? How are you doing? Glad to see you. Always. Glad to see you. Hope you didn't tie yourself to the missile yesterday in the end and attack Moscow. How are you doing? Hope you are enjoying your gin tonic. Oh, we're having like a vision, people, in chapter 4. This is a strange world. Oh, if I owned one, I would. No, this is like, sadly, I'm too poor to. Well, I think we are all too poor to own what you wanted yesterday, which was an I don't know if intercontinental because you're close, but yeah, a pretty powerful missile to be tied and fired to Moscow. It's going downhill for me. No, why? Why? What happened? Don't tell me you had elections in Poland. No. No. Patrick, finishing the answer. Was it satisfactory? Basically, I gave you examples. I can also give you examples with the legislative. How the form of the state determines the content of the executive, of the legislative, or the judicial system. Let me say what I said yesterday for Pat here. No. Sure. As I finish my we were debating about the form of a state. Basically, Pillow. Basically, so that, Patrick. Think about all that. In a monarchy, the faculties of the executive are split into two between the monarch and the prime minister or the chancellor. So there you have an example that I would say to your teacher in the case of that the framework determines the content. That the framework determines the content. So that the framework determines the content. Hang on, Pillow. Now I finish with him. He was asking me. He talked to his history teacher about the things I say, and while she agreed that monarchy is okay, she said that the form of a state is not that important, and I of course disagree with that because I think the framework determines the content. And I said that if you have a monarchy, the faculties of the executive power are split into two, actually being more balanced, and in a presidential republic, everything is concentrated in the figure of the president. Of course, it's important. I think it is. I think it is, without a doubt. Because of this, the judicial system as well, as I said, Patrick, you can have either concentrated or split constitutional control. That is how the Supreme Court of a country interprets the Constitution. It needs to be a liberal democracy. Here we go, Pillow. Here we fucking go. Here we fucking go. Liberal democracy, so we can fill all of the streets of the country with prostitution or something like that. No. Okay.
Enemies or not, I wanted them alive to answer questions.
Argument.
Dumped us together for a reason.
Argument.
Some kind of test?
New York in 2 months, says Patrick. Indeed. With the communists that got there, my condolences to all American citizens. I love you all. I love the United States deeply. You know it. I defend it every day on stream since 4 years. And etc. Deeply, deeply painful to see a communist, besides uh, the communist criminal taking a hold of the pretty much the center of the world, the financial center of the world, and etc. Are fighting between Panama? No, no, no. Pillow, he's way too too intelligent for that. Never, never, never. Let me grab my nuts. No, 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 no. In fact, he's telling me that because because he is no commie. Neither him or me, we are communists. I assure you. So pretty much. Martek, are you having some creepy day? I'm knocked out bright light of the open lease alone. We're planet. Things got even stranger.
We just ran into some Knights of the Cool and a whole lot of angry droids.
Now we start the debate, people.
My day hasn't been nearly that dramatic.
He's not an Islam. We only disagree about races, but that's not for Twitch. Yeah, no. No. Patrick, I doubt we disagree in the end. It's just that I even doubt we disagree. Well, maybe about the United Kingdom, that I love it so much. But yeah, I would doubt we would disagree in a tavern discussion. It's just yeah, please, no more of that.
Best news I've heard all day.
Cuomo is just as good as Trump, which translates to suck. No, Bill, you cannot say that Trump sucks. You cannot say that. He stopped wars. He put order in Middle East. No, you can't say that Trump sucks. Of course, what starts with J and control. No, Pillow, no, not again that riddle. Not again that riddle. He did it to me yesterday, Patrick. No, not again that riddle. Of course, I can. No, he answered the same as I did. He answered the same as I did. No. A pillow. The problem with your riddle, you know what it is? You know what it is? It's actually Jesus in Poland and Hungary. No.
Vexen?
You don't have to struggle. Let me help you.
Oh, who's this guy? Wasn't this guy dead? He was the brother of Theron, who was dead.
It's your little sister.
But in other countries over the sea, it's actually Jesus in Poland and Hungary, but in other countries over the sea. Actually, if we are being technical, Pillow. The one that has the most control, actually, right now, is the unnameable Ursula. If we are talking about that. One person passport. No, we don't. No, don't get into that fucking debate, Pillow. No. I can give you more or less the exact number. I think we all know who rules what where. It was Obama in the United States creating these shitty circumstances, and then Ursula von der Leyen there in Europe, and Merkel could also be responsible. Merkel also responsible during the Obama administration. Ursula doesn't start with G. No, it starts with something worse. With illegal immigration that it took me 2 years to do my Italian citizenship papers and everything, and verifying that my great grandpa was there and was expelled because of World War II, and she's getting people for free there. Obama administration relatives. Kinda shitty riddle. Patrick, you think I'm exaggerating, but I am not. Abortion is a genocide by omission. Telling children that their parents, that their fathers oppress their mothers, and they should hate them, is a genocide by omission. Merkel isn't worse. She is German. No, please. Please, please, Pillow, you hate all of your neighbors. Tell me a country that you don't hate that is a neighbor of yours. It has to be a neighbor. You cannot say something like, oh, well, I love Argentina. Of course, you are great. No. Tell me one country that is a neighbor of yours and you don't hate. In that sense, or you don't joke about with those. Has to be a neighbor. You should hate your ancestors, man. No, no. Hungary. Well, but that's Patrick's country. No, no. It's not a direct neighbor. It needs to be a direct neighbor. I thought you were going to say the Baltics, Lithuania, Lithuania, and Estonia. Those ones. I thought you were going to say those ones. Those were easy answers. Yeah. Poland, Polish flag. Okay, okay. Polish flag. Your own country. Okay. It is though. The painter was Raymond de Patnek. What? Patnek? Well, like when he starts chatting in German and or Polish or whatever, it's even worse for me, people. I've already mastered English and Spanish, but I think if I choose a third language, definitely German would be tough. That's Hungarian. Okay, even worse. Even worse. Even worse. Even worse. Even worse. Yeah, generally for all of us Romance speakers like French, Spanish, Portuguese, and Italian, generally all Germanic derives are harder in that sense. XD, yeah, pretty much it is impossible. El Patnek, Polak Weginer. God damn it. Poland has a border with Hungary, right, Pat? Yeah, we all know that it does have one. I thought you were going to say the Baltics, honestly. That were also affected by the communists below. Like Poland, by default, has to love the Baltics because they were like brothers in the fight against the relativist socialism of that Immanuel Kant started. Well,
The visitors are too distinct.
I thought you were going to say the Baltics,
Please adjust
honestly. No, when I said neighbor, I meant close. That one has to be German, Patrick. That one has to be German. There is no way that is also Hungarian. I'm forced to learn German at school. Really, Patrick? Ah, that's good. Well, if you know English first. If you are forced to... If you already learned English by heart. First English, then German. It's a good combo. It's a good combo. You will be lacking Spanish, that is also quite widespread in the world, my language. Oh well. Oh well. Oh well. Pillow, since you speak so many languages. No, wait. The comment about the fucking killer of my country, Juan Perón. And you wrote an N. That is the character he used. This character in Spanish. I don't know how the fuck you know what the fuck this is. That's an N. That's a Spanish and Portuguese letter that is not in the English alphabet. The only difference. I don't know how he fucking wrote it. I don't know how he fucking wrote it. What? No. Server exploded. No. Fuck it. Thumbs up. I hope I answered good. Thumbs up. I'm forced to learn. What did you answer good? Thumbs up. To him. To Pillow. Each have a king has heaven. Yeah, no. Sorry, people. Germanic languages are the weakness of any Spanish or Italian speaker, any Romance speaker. A thumbs up to him because he replied in German. Fuck people, we have an international chat always here. What? The server imploded? What the fuck is this shit? Really? What the fuck is this shit? I have connection, otherwise the chat would have disconnected. I have internet connection, people. I am connected to the stream. Fuck. It imploded. Permanently or just today? Everyone. Just... Yeah, sometimes it does it. EO, EO, EO. What the fuck, pillow? Pillow. 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 Don't go crazy. Don't go crazy. Don't go crazy. No, regarding... Come to Warsaw. No, 11th of November. November the 11th. What happens... Shit, I'll have to restart the game. My fucking god. We will march. You will march where? As a military parade? No, no, fuck it, fuck it, Pillow. No, wait, Pillow, please, 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 please. Okay, okay. Change that those words that make a direct connection to those. Change it for rainbow flag. Rainbow flag individuals. No more of that word. No more of that word. No more of those words. Rainbow flag individuals. But just say rainbow flags. Just say that. Everyone understands it. But it's different because that way, come join the Independence March. Like that. Perfect. The Independence March. That. Precisely. Perfect. But you said there is none. They are activists against chocolate cake muncher. Things like that. They are reconnected to the server. It was a second. There we are reconnecting. It was just a second. It imploded for a second. Yeah. Just that. Engineers. Well, that. You use those things. No, poor engineers. I'm a software engineer. No, as well. No. No. Just that. Just that. Candy flags. Let's say candy flags. Candy flags. Let's just say candy flags. But well, black and white against red. Yeah, something like that. You say things like that, so we don't have any problem. We don't like to offend anyone. We don't like to offend anyone. Here we are respectful people. Just so you know, I don't insult anyone. People, they are here. They are two witnesses that I never insult anyone, and etc. Well, they are in Polish, I guess it is. Something like that. Yeah, perfect. Things like this. And change some words so it's not the real word in Polish as well. Just change some words, something like that. No, Pillow, I will not begin with the debate again today, because I had a previous comment from you that I wanted to answer. I already debated with him like 3 fucking hours about that topic. No, wait, please, wait. Later, Pillow. First. Patrick, you tell me if I replied your question satisfactorily about the monarchy as a form of the state influencing the executive power that you asked your history teacher. You tell me if my answer was satisfactory, that you never told me. And you, Juan Perón sold passports to the mustache. What? I shall go in a jiffy. A jiffy, what the fuck? It was a satisfaction. Okay, well, there. Try not to anger your history teacher because she can qualify you at school, contrary to me. Be intelligent, don't tell her. Fucking Eraser told me that the form of the state does influence the form of the government because of the metaphysical principle of the framework determining the content and then proceeding to do the explanation of how the executive power is split into two. Don't do it if you don't want to get a 0 or a 1 over at your next exam at school. Be intelligent. Once you pass that year and she's no longer your history teacher, you can tell it to her. I suggest that. I can get no satisfaction. Wait, Pillow. Juan Perón, you want to talk about my country? It is true. We never talked about my country. We talk a lot about Europe, but never about the Americas. It's true. Let's make it fair for me as well. So, Pillow, the mustache man friends, let's say. We had actually, no, not in depth. Like very little. I know all about Bolsonaro. No, that one is Brazil. I mean Argentina. I know I said the Americas, but dead. Pretty much. So... Okay, here the difficulty is broken because of the comp I'm using. I'm beginning to get the point that the comp is the one responsible for the jumping difficulty previously. Pretty much. Here, one Thundering Blast and we're done. There we go, thank you. Okay, it was just a momentary loop. About the cheater! About Peron and Maduro. Pillow, how the fuck are you writing an N? Is the mystery in the chat right now. How are you writing an N? That is the character that he's using by the end of the name of the killer criminal president that I had. How the fuck are you writing the N with Alt 164 is the only way without a Spanish keyboard. Even about your new romantic social favorite. No, we haven't talked about my president a lot. Just a little. Romantic social favorite. Hopefully. Oh, what the fuck is this? I think I wasn't meant to go this way. You don't like my president. Pillow. No, first about the killer. First about the killer that Winston Churchill perfectly said that World War II was finally finished once Argentina was bombarded. You know how it went, the story. First I will begin with a little nice story. Pillow, do you know how he was deposed in the end? Our main general of the Marines, basically. The maritime force. I heard about that one already, bro. Goth girls or cute... No. There. Patrick will entertain you with more illustrious chats about quite interesting topics. as I get to that one. Yeah, the difficulty here is not properly compensated, sadly. It got broken as this guy joined me. No, I will not read those comments. Basically, in 1945, after World War II is finished here in Argentina, there's the degenerate that precisely Pillow is mentioning, that he knows, that he was a populist, socialist, whatever, that started causing the economic disaster that lasted for 70 years here in Argentina, doing a lot of crimes and etc. Do you know what we had to do, what the population had to do to get rid of him? They had to, the very same population, they had to knock on the doors of the military forces, because it got to a point that he had precisely, you know what, no, wait, the irony. Do you know what was one of his measures that destroyed the economy, people of Argentina in 1947, I think, whatever, as soon as he got to the presidency? Do you know which one it was? Do you know which one it was? One of the first measures that he took. It will sound familiar to New Yorkers with Mr. Mamdani and this new thing that they have communism in New York. The very first measure he took that destroyed the economy. Get to the point here, so no, Pillow. I take my time to explain. I'm not a putrid illiterate who explains his points in 2 seconds and everyone then stays wondering what the fuck he was trying to say. You can chat with Patrick about the goth girls if you are interested. I expand upon my points. No. Do you know which one was the first measure he picked? Freezing rent. I need to go soon. No. Well, Pillow, if you have to go soon, you know you can watch the streams as VODs. You can watch them as VODs. Anyways, Or you can stay more time, I don't know, whatever you like. I don't know what to offer you. You can... What happens if I attack them? It was freezing rent. Does it sound familiar? It was the very first measure that Mr. Mamdani is suggesting to do in New York. The very first. Coincidence? After that, Argentina had ended up with 3 bankruptcies of the state, 70 years of communism, shit all over the place, 17,000 inflation, etc., that precisely Millet solved. So, relate the ideas. Relate the ideas. Relate the ideas, people. First, the very first measure of the person that he's mentioning, freezing rent, like McDammy is suggesting to do. Second point, do you know how we had to get rid of him 10 years later in 1955? Do you know how we had to get rid of him? The very same population knocked on the doors of the maritime force of the army, basically the navy. I didn't remember the word in English. My bad. The navy. They had to knock on the door of the navy, and the navy had to go to the United States, get the weapons that you all left in World War II. We got the weapons that you all left in World War II in Europe. The maritime armed itself, and with those weapons, the navy, sorry, not the maritime, the maritime force, the navy, had to bombard all of the capital of Argentina, all of the city, just to get rid. We are probably one of the few countries that actually bombarded its own capital, all the way to Uruguay. See all of the problems that he caused. This is when my grandpa was alive. He took, like, you could get for free, let's say, the bullets on the street. He grabbed them as proof that I can tell you. Because they would leave the boxes there, the Navy, and my grandpa, because the draft was mandatory, he kind of like, my grandpa is the son of, he was the son of the Syrian refugee great-grandpa that came here to Argentina. So we had to bombard all of the city, all of Buenos Aires, all of the capital, just to get rid of that degenerate, whose first measure was freezing rent. Just so you know, the very first measure that ended up in a bombardment of all of the country all the way up to Uruguay. And Uruguay wasn't bombarded and destroyed, because Uruguay is like this compared to Argentina, 3 times the population. It would have been destroyed as well. Unfortunately, our navy was civilized enough as to not bombard another country. They stopped as he fled to Uruguay. Okay, so a massive bombardment of the capital, starting with freezing the rent. So let that sink in, people, for the election that we had last week in New York. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. So, yeah, pretty much. Second topic. The history teacher, that the framework determines the content with everything that I told you. It was a satisfactory answer. You can get no satisfaction, you already got it. Pillow, I've replied to that topic several times, and etc. I've already commented to you the lack of existence because of the framework determining the content, and the second that happens, gender theory doesn't exist, and because of that, you are born either male or female, determined by sex at birth, because of the proportion of gray matter on the brain. Pretty much. I've already answered that several times. The cheater, it is true, the current president of Colombia, the cheater, his usual tactic, as he was a killer, he used to create holes in Colombia. For those of you who may be watching this as a YouTube bot and like socialism, he dug holes and he would cheat on prisoners as well. Maduro, he's going to be obliterated by by the new fleet of the United States, fortunately, and we are not going to deal uh, with that criminal anymore. Even your new romantic social favorite, this is the topic. Well, and then they talk about goth girls and etc. I won't read the tastes of each of you for those things, perfectly respectable and etc. My current president, Pello. Do you know my current president? Patrick, do you know my current president? Does any of you know my current president? I bet you both know him as the Argentinian Trump or something like that.
The past is done. We need to focus on the present.
My president, my current president, that of course I say publicly, I of course voted. He controlled 17,000% inflation. He had the courage to say over at his first Davos summit speech that woke culture leads into P activities, P activities, precise activities, let's say, precise activities. Because it derives from relativism. He's not a monarch, he's realist like me, but he's libertarian. But he is right about that because relativism destroys the objective meaning of words. He controlled 70 years of destruction, of economic destruction of the planet, of Argentina, that the planet is still wondering. Economists all over the world are still wondering. We are fucking still wondering how the fuck he did it without touching people's money. Like it has been done for 70 years to stabilize the communist economy of Argentina. Always touching the deposits of the people in the banks or fucking over people. Kane West will be run for president of the United. I don't know who the person is.
Wait till you hear what this thing has to say.
Judging by your excitement, this ought to improve my day.
I can't
Kane
promise that,
West.
but it won't
I don't know
be
who
long.
he is. He's right wing, left wing, I don't know.
Welcome to Iocath, visitors. I am Ares.
He's the richest musician in the world.
Skip to the stuff about Scorpio, the Eternal Fleet, the Gravestone, the Gemini droids.
Very well. They are among the greatest weapons ever designed by this world's creators.
Did he go to any... Did he have any formal education, Pillow? Any formal education? So sorry, not Pillow, Patrick. Sorry, I was reading the other chat. Pillow, if you had to go, have a great day, and I always enjoy the talks. Sorry, it's just that please people understand. I read a lot during the day, and Patrick. Kanye West will be the run for next president. He's the richest musician in the world. He has a full diamond, 50k, 100k, 500. Sorry, 500k dollars. Amulet. I Does he have any education, Patrick? Education? Did he go to school? What does he think about school? About things? Yeah, Pillow had to go probably. Okay, no worries. Did he? Great. Just what we needed. Another psychopath killer. 100 years afterwards. Mustache man. After the mustache man. Oh, oh. Hey, I'm back. You're back, Pillow. You're back. Okay. You're back. Now we were talking about a musician. Okay, he didn't go to school. One-on-one or group. Shit. No, Pillow, stop it. I don't want the chat to be so tacky, Pillow. Let it go, Pillow. Don't make the chat be so tacky. Here, this is a refined monarchic chat, and you want to turn it into a tacky liberal chat. This day just became wonderful. Never a. Never a. Never let it go.
It's obvious Iocath is a weapons factory, and I'm
One day you will be tied to the missile and launched into Moscow. I know, Pillow. I know. I know you will be tied to the missile and launched into Moscow. You cannot buy it now. This is like the story. Today I had a bad day, I thought. You never have a bad day when you come to the chat, Pillow. You never say those things. But now I know it was wonderful. Why? Because you participated in my chat and you love my chat, Pillow. You have to admit it. You have to admit it, I'm awesome. You have to admit I'm awesome. You never thought the first time you joined the stream that an Argentine could be so awesome. Don't blame the player, blame the game. Ken West once said, I'm so sad I can't run into my arm at the beach. What the fuck? What the fuck? The live fire combat exercise produced valuable design fragment.
Is this world part of the Eternal Empire?
Because the guy I hate was
Is there a
actually.
secret Valkorian kept from me?
Bioware has always been a
Fuck
sovereign
Pillow, though.
dedicated
Please,
You left
please.
out the list of planets
I don't
used
know
for
who
these
you are talking
warcasts.
about,
My first
but if he was that, I'm glad he went to jail, and let's wrap it up right there.
First, they conquered Zakul. Now they fight.
Those ones would be executed under my
Something happened
monarchy.
flipped
I'm
them
sorry.
around.
Those precise
100
individuals.
years ago, Jackson. Why did you wait so long to find me?
I'm here now. You're so powerful, Valen. The things you can do.
I remember when you used to visit my cage. You always bought a gift.
No shit.
I need to help.
No, what the fuck? No,
Tell me
please,
what's
people,
stopping
stop.
you
I don't know who
from
the person
destroying
is,
the Outlander.
but he's a fucking criminal.
You know the answer, don't you? Why can't I feel you?
I'll just leave the chat
I
there.
am experiencing interference.
Don't look at me. I didn't touch it.
Are you free? Are you free? That depends. We're on Iocap. Where are you, Scorpio? Imprisoned at an unknown location. If you are not a captive, you can intervene. You were captured to be used as test subjects.
I don't know who you are talking about, you two, but I won't read the messages. I won't read the messages. Just that anyone who does an activity such as that one has to go to jail. Has to go to jail. Fucking jail.
You expect my help after all you've done to betray the Alliance? I made an error. Give me the chance to correct it.
Is your opinion about Alex Jones? I don't know who all they are, Patrick. As I've told you, I think by default when you ask me about all of these people that I don't know, he has I will cut internet access. I don't give a shit about all of the modern thinkers. I think they are all illiterate. I'm sorry. I think they are all illiterate. They are not. They wouldn't be authorized to hold a microphone. In my mind, I don't watch anything beyond the 2010. Beyond 2010. I don't watch any series. I don't consume anything beyond 2010. There's been a degradation of intellect that I just don't accept. I don't accept everything post-Obama administration. I don't accept it unless there's a reset. And by reset, I mean all relativists go to fucking jail. That is, no more relativism, and schools change their education system, and no more. And one thing, the one there was one thing that I didn't reply to Pillow the other day, that I gave him one of my riddles, and he didn't answer me since he did that riddle to me. Pillow, what would you guess would be the thing, the one activity I would actually ban? You are not gonna figure it out easily. The one activity I would ban, and you say, and it's not the missionary dark thing that you said the other day. Nice far right propagandist Russian pop. The guy that he asked about. You would agree with Nick Fuentes, though he might be brutal and bold, but there are many good looks. Shoot the real Pillow. What would be the one activity Christian, that is me, would ban? That I would ban in society. The one activity. Banning people you disagree with you. No, it wouldn't be that one. It wouldn't be that one. It wouldn't be that one. I would let them speak so I can completely, utterly disintegrate with logic any trace of relativism publicly.
Safe in here.
With realism like I do here. I wouldn't. From a safe spot so we don't get a second accident like what happened to Mr. K in the US recently. But yeah. No, I would debate them to from a safe spot. To
I can't destroy Valen and Scorpion.
to destroy relativism. No, it wouldn't be
Find
that.
me an exit.
You have to guess again. It will be quite difficult for you to guess it. The one activity I would ban. You won't guess it. There's something I despise more than all of the things that I've mentioned on stream.
I remember when Father sent you to bring me home. You hated my cage almost as much as I did.
Do you remember why you
Online games. Oh
It
no.
was cold and dark.
Online
Each
games.
moment felt like
I
drowning.
would put fines on them and probably declare some illegal, but it's not that one. Yeah,
Oh,
it's not that one.
clever too.
What do I have in my
Bringing
pocket?
these things in.
You're not gonna guess it, and it's
That was Arkin.
it has been on screen in the game several times today.
We've got no clue what's in there.
It's been on screen on the game several times today. Fines, XD. Of course, fines. Fines for everyone, but that's technically not banning. Fines are not... No, Patrick, no. Those are wonderful. Those are wonderful and make our lives incredible when they are sane individuals. No, XD, agree to agree. No, it's not that one. Those ones make our lives, seriously, those make our lives incredible. Women, they make our lives incredible when they don't hate us, when they are not consumed by Obama's policies of hating their parents, when they are not consumed by Obama's policies of relativism and shit, and then continue with Biden. They are great. They are great. With abortion and Obergefell, that's it. That's it. That's what we are going to say. We are going to use the word Obergefell. Last guess. Okay, then you tell me when you want the answer. It's way too difficult. It's been on screen several times. You would outlaw abortion. I would go up against abortion, but beaten at the parliament, and etc. In this case, it's altogether banning the activity. Banning the activity altogether. Cannot be done. And it's been on screen here several times. In the case of abortion, it would be beaten over at the legislative.
Just because a door opens doesn't mean we have to walk.
What would it be?
I hate to believe it.
Well, I'll give you the...
I should've said
Please,
it, but
do
this
tell
is
us, says Petri cannot hold it in. It's been on screen, people. It's been on screen. It's just that you weren't paying attention talking about goth girls and etc. Please do tell us. I would ban... Say it! It's been on screen. I would ban and potentially... No, I would ban and potentially give, on top of fines, prison for life. Do it to owners of tattoo shops and potentially execute people who do tattoos. I am not kidding about this. As one biology teacher told me, hurry up, I said it already. Tattoo owners and of a tattoo store and tattoo, like the ones that do the tattooers. they would go to prison for life. Pillow laughs. The activity would be banned, and they would go to prison for life. No fucking way. Yes. Yes. I despise that more than all of the topics mentioned. And just so you know, Pillow laughs. Just so you know, for example, Crowbar here has tattoos, and I perfectly respect it, and everything, and Phantom as well, and it's not the case with any of you. I respect in your case everything. The person who invented it and the ones that do it, I think they are evil personified. You are killing me, says Phil. No. You won't laugh so much, says Philo laughs. I am unique, Philo, aren't I? I will give you the reason. I'll give you the reason. So now you are all laughing. You take it lightly, like fucking Eraser is crazy. We all know that fucking Eraser is crazy. He's either a genius or he's crazy, or both at the same time, or some shit like that. My biology teacher once said, evil personified. Yes, evil personified. Yes, evil personified. Yes, Pillow. I say this unironically. As my biology teacher said once, a good old educated this is the funniest shit I've seen in a year. Yes, they would have a very hard time with me. Why? As my biology teacher said once in her great wisdom, when you put a tattoo on your arm, which was the element that I was saying that Bailin has tattoos on her arm there, you are killing with the ink. The ink is killing the reproduction of the particles that allow the skin to breathe. Human beings, bro. No, wait, Pillow. I'll give you the explanation. Wait. Then you can write whatever you want. Don't worry. This is serious. Then I read all of your comments. The ink destroys the particles of the skin which are meant to be used to breathe. So that yeah, you laugh, Pillow. You laugh. I know I'm the best, but what I'm telling you is the truth. The tattoos destroy the particles which the skin uses to breathe. You know that if you get burnt, why do you die when you get burnt? Why do you die when you get burnt? Because you can't breathe. But why do you die? Because the skin has no oxygen because of the fire that consumes the oxygen, so your skin cannot breathe. Correct? This was explained to me by my biology teacher. The skin cannot breathe. So how the fuck are we allowing the population to destroy the parts of the body through which they breathe? You're going to tell me, well, but Eraser, there's a lot of people with tattoos. Nowadays, a Crowbar, for example, has tattoos about Half-Life and SWTOR or Phantom, and those, the ones that are already done, I have no problem. I love them all. But the ones that execute the activity, are causing a slow. I cannot use the word here in Twitch. A delayed death, let's say. I was actually going to use the S word. A delayed death of the population. This is the equivalent of what Obama did. Why? Because Obama, through passing the bill of abortion, I said genocide by omission. This is another genocide by omission. You are destroying the particles of the skin of the people who could have healthy lives. Regardless of that, that is the objective component. Let's get into the subjective component of it. Psychologically, Pillow, if you laughed about that one, you'll get the psychological component of it. psychologically, what does a tattoo represent? Psychologically, for anyone.
All better.
It represents something that they try to say, right? In front of the rest of the population in a permanent way. Satan, no. Philo, wait, no, it's serious. This is a serious argument. What does it psychologically represent? It represents something that you want to say in your mind permanently so everyone knows it. Also, bye, Philo. You are not interested in the psychological component. I cannot believe this shit. And what if the tattoo is your mother, father's birthday? Something that you want to say. But the problem is how, Patrick, which was my next argument that sadly Pillow will miss. That is the key to it. It's something that you want to psychologically say to all of the population permanently. But the problem is how you say it. This argument stopped being serious the moment you started talking about that. No. Hang on. When you write something on your body, what are you trying to say, actually, psychologically? You are trying to convey to the rest of the population, yeah, bro, bye, goodbye, Pillow, goodbye. Don't worry. This argument, Patrick, I bet he will perfectly understand it. When you write something on your skin permanently, instead of saying it, what you are actually trying to do is convey psychologically that the idea that you write on your skin has more strength than your words, because it's permanently on your skin. Topic before, I wasn't surprised. Okay, see, Pillow, see? Well, he already had to go. Have a great day, Pillow. I always appreciate our debates. And, well, glad that my great conservative arguments at least make you laugh. It's perfect. As long as you don't insult me, it's all right. And you more or less, if you debate as you have been doing, no problem. So, when you write something on your skin, Patrick, or anyone else watching this as YouTube, but you are trying to convey that you feel it, or you say it with more strength psychologically compared to if you said it with your mouth. And doing that degrades the inherent value of the word, of chatting with people.
Hey,
See how it works psychologically?
another of those techno thingies.
You are trying to convey that you feel something with more strength than people who say it and debate. And this is a fallacy. Why? Why? Because there's no greater gift from life than words, than being able to communicate. And language is one of the top 5 inventions of humanity, language. So, because it is an insult to language, because it tries to inherently degrade its value, its objective value, like relativism, is because I would ban all the tattoo executors and shops and owners, precisely. Not to mention that they are also used as an element of crime for candy sellers to identify members and all of that shit. And what about plastic surgery? I would also prohibit it for the population, as it serves no purpose, and it also psychologically degrades self-image in that sense. And there's been a lot of accidents with people dead. But regarding the argument, just so Pillow can laugh from the shadows as he does whatever he'd like, or no, well, that one, I would, yes, I would also limit that. Patrick. I would also limit that. But the one that I really have a fixation on, I would also probably ban that one. That last one as well. I would probably also ban that one as well. As it encourages lust, and that's definitely a deficiency of society. but pretty much the one that I directly deal with is the one that I told you. I would ban all tattoo shops and the tattooers. I would ban them all. I respect all of the people who have them if they are good people. For example, Crowbar here, he has tattoos about Half-Life and etc. But it does not impede me from doing the psychological analysis that I mentioned to you people. It tries to degrade the inherent psychological value of words. Because you are trying to say something, you are convinced that what you wrote on your body has more value than human communication. And I think that is a psychological degradation of society. Because of that. Because you convince the population that if they have a lot of tattoos, they feel things with more intensity than those of us who use words. And language is a miracle of nature, something that we have to love and admire in that sense. So there's no reason whatsoever for that to happen in that sense. So yes, it's because of that. In that sense, I know that what I'm saying is highly unpopular and etc. Can I stand this thing like that with the heroic moment?
Here,
There we go.
we can take
Nice.
the power source from this droid.
If you say so, Bet. Let's go.
Getting close.
So it would be that.
Just need one more.
It would be that, pretty much. I gave you the subjective component, the psychological reaction, and the objective one, destroying the particles on the skin, being another genocide by omission. The same with candy, the same with smoking, the same with piercings. Same with piercings. Same with piercings. On the tongue, or I don't know, the stomach, the belly button, and or your eyebrow or whatever. The same. Those ones, tattoos, piercing, and there's another second psychological component. It's an act of self-aggression. So if the S word, let's say removing your capability of breathing, if the S word, the act, is banned in most societies, why isn't this also banned? Because of the severity, because the person doesn't die instantly. I do not believe in the fallacy of relativism, of twisting the objective meaning of words to say that, because it doesn't happen now, let's ignore it. Let's ignore it, because it doesn't happen now. Let's have an unhealthy society just because it doesn't happen now. Pretty much. Pretty much. Pretty much. That's not an excuse. It's the same as the argument of the candy dealer that you talked to, Patrick. But the person doesn't die now. Oh, does that change the fact that the person will certainly have a degradation in his health and affect him in the future? Well, no. Then, no. It's the same argument. What do I have to do here? Where does arrogance come from in humans? Arrogance comes from ignorance, Patrick. It comes from ignorance. For example, would you say that I am an arrogant individual just because I say a lot of things that maybe have that I say them with a lot of security, and I tell you that intelligent individuals, we are sure of why we say things. We don't need the validation of a group. And all of arrogant tattoo and piercing person look well, look at that. There's a correlation because they psychologically feel that what they have written on their bodies, they feel it with more intensity psychologically than those of us who use the word as a form of communication. And that is a degradation of one of the greatest inventions of humanity that we should love and embrace, which is language. As an English teacher, is my argument. If It's not a coincidence that a lot of arrogant, you're saying, people that have tattoos and piercing, it's not a coincidence. It's because they psychologically feel that they have taken a step further and they feel things, whatever the fact they wrote on their bodies, with more intensity. This is how it works psychologically. And this is a fallacy. Because writing your skin, the only thing that proves is, well, that instead of communicating with your voice, you are trying to communicate something to the overall population by writing something on your skin. It does not mean you feel it with more intensity than others. See that it does have a component of superiority deep inside. Maybe then the person was just influenced by whatever cultural factors. Nowadays they do it because of hive mentality or whatever. It can be. But deep inside, the massification of this has this. Here it is, deep inside. It was quite well hidden. It has this deep inside. Feeling, no, trying to being convinced that you are saying something to society with more inherent value than language. And that is a fallacy, because language is the greatest creation of humanity. Most probably top 5. Top 5. First one, what? Economy itself, when we went from predatory to stationary economies, when we were cavemen. Pretty much. So you see that my argument does make sense regarding that. It's not that I say I would execute and ban all tattoo shops out of my whim. I'm giving you a reason.
There must be millions of dead.
It's because, as I said, psychologically,
There are billions.
that
You found my creators.
you're trying to say something to society that for you has more value than people talking. That distorts the psychological perception of me. All of us, we have a psychological perception of ourselves that is called me, the concept in psychology. It distorts the psychological perception of me. That you have something that is being said with more value than language. So yeah, it's because of that. Do you have an idea? Hang on, I'll read the cinematic in the meantime.
We must speak quickly.
What's going on, Scorpio?
These monuments connect to a single network, a planetary database tens of millennia old. It is revealing everything. The beings who built Iocath were scientists and engineers. They were also flawed and violent. Like all organics, they turned on themselves. The Geminis, our fleets, even me. They slaughtered our makers.
How did you leave this world? Forget what you did.
Iocath's builders tried to save themselves. They drove us into wild space and locked our memory cores. It did not save them, only us. We drifted for centuries, lost. And when we were discovered, our fates remained the same. Weapons, wielded in more pointless organic wars.
You're finally home, but you're a prisoner like the rest of us. Why? Who's doing this?
Enough lies, show yourself!
And with that, we beat Chapter 4. It was that final boss. Chapter 5. Here we go, people. We can confirm with this that the Jinharadan Hunters of Chapter 2 were a broken level design.
Do not be deceived. Ares is immensely powerful. Everything that happens to us is his design.
Now I read it, Patrick. And your comment? Give me a second.
Think about it, Vet. Every time we interact with one of these monuments, Ares learns more about us.
I believe you are an experiment. He's a scientist studying bacteria. Ares was the only self-aware weapon to remain on Iocath after our creators died. The other droids are merely his slaves. He rendered us insensate, arranged us like game pieces on this world, and pitted us against each other. But he must have a weakness.
Or
Thank you for
not.
your participation. My examination is now complete. I intended to see if any among you were worthy of inheriting Iocath. You failed.
I'm claiming Iocath and everything on it. You can't stop me.
Your statement is incorrect.
Alright, now I read the comment. Unless we don't get to fight them. Oh, yes, we do. Chapter 5, people. Here we go. We are halfway there. Only 9 chapters to go. Sorry, only 9 chapters total. 5 to go, pretty much. Patrick, do you have an idea why, for those of you watching this as a YouTube bot, people, I have my Twitch chat here and we have interesting debates about several things. We were chatting about society and everything and the form of the state and everything. So pretty much we debate a lot. For those of you watching this as a YouTube bot, it's just that you don't see it because I don't include the Twitch chat over at YouTube. You are all welcome to join us. Thanks to the 89th YouTube subscriber, by the way. Then next week I will read your user in case it was a public subscription, as I said last time. Okay, Patrick.